Good afternoon and welcome to a very special SCSA Webinar Wednesday. My name is Justin Brooks, Safety Advisor for the SCSA, and I'll be acting as the moderator and the host for today's webinar. So before I start the presentation, I just want to take a moment to discuss a few items before we get going. This webinar is being recorded and will be available for later viewing on Facebook and our YouTube channel. So if you're not following our social media accounts, make sure that after this webinar, you give this video a like and a share, and follow our pages to keep up to date on safety in Saskatchewan. So today we have a very special event planned for everyone. It is the return of GeoParty. So you may remember from a few months ago, I believe it was, we did this earlier. So we have two very special guests who I'd like to give a moment to introduce themselves. So please go ahead. We'll start with you, Loy.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Levesque. I'm the Advisory Services Manager at the SCSA.
And Sherry.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sherry Torgerson, Safety Training Manager with SCSA.
All right. So without any further ado, we will start the presentation. Now, really hoping this all works to plan. If for any reason, audio cuts out or anything like that, I'll just exit out of the PowerPoint and back in. For any reason that may happen. It's doubtful, but we'll see what happens here. So I'm just going to share my screen with everyone. All right, so here's the board. The way this works, if you remember from last time, there are 5 columns with different titles. Can you dig it? All hail the guardrail. Don't bring me down, Goose. Can you hear me now? And planes, cranes, and automobiles. Each column is divided into 4 questions, 100 through 400. We don't have a genuine flip a coin here. I actually never thought of that, how we started last time. So we'll leave it up to you guys to see who wants to go first. And you just pick one, there'll be an answer. A question that comes up. If you get the question wrong, so it's divided 100 through 400 points. If you get the question wrong, the other person will have an opportunity to get that question. If both of you get it wrong, then there's no points awarded to anybody. The person who gets it right gets the points for that. Within these, there are some special rounds. So we'll I've explained it to the contestants prior to this event, but just for everybody else, there's some win or lose rounds, and one is located secretly hidden within each column. So when you land on one of those, if you get the question right, you get the point. If you get the question wrong, you lose those points. So we will get started. So who wants to go first?
Roy?
All right.
I was going to volunteer Sherry, but
I wish I had thought about a flip a coin option here, but I didn't think of one. So it's too late now. We got to go with it. So Loy, what will you take?
okay, we'll ease into this with all hail the guardrail for 100.
All right. So horizontal top members must be between blank millimeters and blank millimeters above the working surface. Is it A, 1910 and 1060, B, 1920 and 1070, C, 1930 and 1080, or D, 1940 and 1090?
I am going to go with B.
B. That is correct. All right, great work. All right, so that's the first one down. Sherry, you're up.
I will do, can you dig it for 100?
Can you dig it for 100? How many soil types are there? Is it A2, B3, C4, or D1?
Let's go with C4.
All right. C, you are correct. There are 4 soil types. Regulation 262 sets this out. All right, we're tied at 100 apiece. Loy, you are up next.
Okay, I will go with, can you hear me now for 100?
All right. Employers are required to ensure a competent person measure noise and documents those measurements in any area that exceeds blank decibels. Is it A, 74, B, 80, C, 86, or D, 90?
I will go again with B, 80 decibels.
All right. And that is correct. And I don't know why I have a 2 there, but it doesn't matter because the answer is right. That can be found in regulation 111, 1B. All right, great work. Sherry.
Let's go with Don't Bring Me Down, Grooves for 100.
Don't bring me down. All right, let's see what this says. Oh. All right, so we've landed on our first win or lose round. So again, this is for 100. So if you get this question right, you get your 100. If you get it wrong, you lose 100. So here it is. Ensure every building shaft that has a doorway or opening without a platform installed is covered by a solid barrier that extends from the bottom of the doorway or opening to a height of at least blank. Is it A, 1.4 meters, B, 4 meters, C, 2.2 meters, or D, 2 meters? Oh, sorry, yeah, D, 2 meters.
I'm going to go with D for 2 meters.
Now, you'll notice when I bring this up, I actually had the wrong letter, but the answer is correct. I switched those around because I had way too many in the same column, so I forgot to change that one. That can be found in 125.4, so it is 2 meters, which is D, not B. All right, so you win your 100 points. Great work on the first win or lose round. Loy, you're up next.
Your music is very loud and alarming, just so you know.
Is it? It's on medium too. I didn't think it would be that loud. Sorry about that.
Just to keep us on our toes.
Yeah, absolutely. Wakes you up.
I'll go with All Hail the Guardrail for 400.
Oh, the big money. All right. A worker must not blank any equipment on a guardrail. Is it A, draw, B, hang, C, lean, or D, pull?
I will go with B, hang.
Awesome. So that can be found, more information can be found on this in the regulations under guardrails, section 122.6. So no wrong answers so far. Loy bringing up the heat with the 400-point question. Sherry, how do you reply?
Well, let's go with Can You Dig It for 300.
All right. When an excavation is more than 3 meters deep, the blank must certify that the structure is safe and that it has been installed, maintained, and removed according to the blank design. Is it A, supervisor, B, journey person, C, excavator, or D, professional engineer?
D, professional engineer.
Awesome, great work. In regulation 264, 1B, excavated shafts and tunnels speak to requirements of a professional engineer? Perfect. Loy.
Okay, I will go with, can you hear me now for 300?
All right, 300-point question. It's a long one. Where it is not reasonably practicable to reduce noise levels or minimize the worker's occupational noise exposure to less than blank dBA, provide written reasons for that opinion to the committee, and where there is no committee, shall inform the workers of the reason for that opinion. So I'll leave that up for a sec, just because it's a long one. All right. Is it A, 80 decibels, B, 85 decibels, C, 90 decibels, or D, 96 decibels?
I will again go with B, 85 decibels.
All right, let's see. Survey says, wrong game show. B, 85 decibels. So this can be found in 113.2 of the regulations. All right, and that one was for 300. All right, so we're currently at Loy with 900 points, and Sherry with 600 points. So Sherry, your turn.
I will take, can you dig it for 400?
All right, big money. If workers may be entering a borehole, casings must be designed by a professional engineer and constructed, installed, used, maintained, and removed according to the professional designs. These casings must extend blank millimeters above the ground so that material will not fall into the casing's opening. I'll leave that for a moment. All right. So is it A, 100 millimeters, B, 200 millimeters, C, 300 millimeters, or D, 400 millimeters?
I'm gonna go with B for 200 millimeters.
All right, let's see. Oh, it's C, 300 millimeters. So this can be found in the regulations under boreholes, belled, or excavated shafts in 265 1B. And I totally forgot to give Loy the opportunity to get that one. So that's my mistake, not yours. No points awarded to anybody. All right. Loy.
Well, I'm glad you didn't give me the chance to do that one because I would have got it wrong as well.
Well, perfect. There we go.
Okay, I'll go with don't bring me down grooves for 400.
All right. Cover or guard openings in floors, roofs, and other work surfaces a worker could step or fall into. Guardrails must have a toe board. Covers must be able to support blank kilograms per square meter. It's kind of a funny written one, but it is right from the regulations. So I'll leave that up for a second. I must say, this is going a lot faster than I thought it would be. So we're only 12 minutes into this presentation here. So is it A, 240 kilograms, B, 260 kilograms, C, 340 kilograms, or D, 360 kilograms?
I am going to go with D, 360 kilograms.
That is it, D, 360 kilograms. So this can be found in 142.1A of the regulations. And this one actually brings up a good topic. A lot of our advisors and our trainers actually talk a lot about this, is that it's often stated that the way to go is 3/4 inch plywood. It covers everything. Covers that 360 kilograms. That's not necessarily true, because it does depend on the amount of space that is stretched over. So you want to make sure that it can actually support that 360 kilograms. There are tables for this, not included within the regulations necessarily. There's span tables, and you have to definitely do your research to know exactly what covers this regulation. and that all falls on the supervisor. So next one. So that was 400. 4. All right. So Sherry.
Let's go with planes, cranes, and automobiles for 100.
All right, the untouched section. For a crane with a load rating greater than or equal to blank tons, the operator must be a competent operator. So for a crane with a load rating greater than or equal to blank tons, the operator must be a competent operator. Is it A, 3 tons, B, 5 tons, C, 7 tons, or D, 9 tons?
B, 5 tons.
That is correct. Now, granted, it's the way it's written in the regulation in 204.5. Having said that, if you're operating any piece of equipment on a job site, you still have to be deemed a competent operator. So there is more that goes with that, but I have to keep the questions short because I can't have 4 pages of information. So that's why we state the regulation that it's found in, which is, again, 204.5. All right, Loy.
I will go with, I'll copy Sherry. I'll go with planes, cranes, and automobiles for 200.
Right. A blank is accessible to the operator at the control station. A blank is accessible to the operator at the control station. Is it A, microphone, B, a load rating / chart, C, lunch, D, phone?
Well, I think lunch is very important, but I'm going to go with B, load rating chart.
By choosing B, you would be absolutely correct. In 203.1, an employer contractor shall ensure that a hoist, crane, or lifting device is provided with a durable and clearly legible indication of the load rating that is readily accessible to the operator at the control station. More often than none, at least with the cranes I've seen, this is a fixed part of the machine. This goes with even things like skid steers. Right behind you, there'll be a pocket that has a manual that is affixed to a cable so that it can actually leave. A lot of these load rating charts will be right in front of the cab so they can flip through. They have wind ratios, angles, everything that goes with it. Tells you when it can and cannot operate and what it can and cannot lift at certain angles. So this is an extremely important part of it. Actually, little known fact, my cousin, I just found out he's a apprentice crane operator, was on the radio for getting the highest mark in Saskatchewan for his, I don't know what level he was in, if it was for his journeyman's or what it was, but he's a really good crane operator apparently. So shout out to you, Byron. All right. So that's for 200 points. All right. Next up.
I will take, can you hear me now for 200?
All right. Can you hear me? All right. So the double trouble round. So this one's very important. So I'm just going to get my notes out. So how this works, we'll read the question together. Once the music starts, you'll have 30 seconds to answer. Technically 29, but you need to write down your answer on a piece of paper with your bet underneath of it. No cell phones, no calendars, no Google, no phone a friend, zero help at all. So you can just take a guess, or you can count backwards from what this answer is, because I know what it is, but you won't yet. But remember, you only have 30 seconds. So whatever amount you bet, you can win if you're right, and that will be added to your total score. But if you lose, we'll take away double that amount that you bet. So Loy, you have 1,500. Sherry, you have 1,100 points. Are you ready?
I guess so.
All right. Okay, so the SCSA opened its doors on March 22nd, 1995. What day of the week was Christmas on in 1995? So the actual day, not the 25th, because we know that. But you have a 1 in 7 chance of getting this. So are we ready?
Sure.
Begin. Right off the bat, I will give 100 points if either of you know what that's from, that song.
I got nothing.
Answer is Donkey Kong. All right. So what were our answers? Loy, you go first. And what was your bet?
My bet was 500, and I'd like to say that not a single advisor texted me the answer in that 30 seconds, so I'll remember that. But I went with Wednesday for 500.
All right. And Sherry.
I also went with Wednesday for 300.
Oh boy. All right. So the answer was Monday. It was a Monday. At least that's what Google told me. So I'm really hoping that's the correct answer. Loy, you are at 500 points now, and Sherry, you are at 400 points. So this is a close match now. All right. It's Loy now, right?
Yeah.
I think so. Okay, I will go with All Hail the Guardrail for 300.
All right. Uh-oh. All right, so we're on another win or lose round. So we know how this works. If you get the question right, you get the 300. If you get it wrong, you lose 300. So here we go. Provide toe boards at the edge of a permanent floor, platform, mezzanine, walkway, ramp, runway, or any other surface from which it is possible for materials to fall more than blank meters. So we'll do that again. Provide toe boards at the edge of a permanent floor, platform, mezzanine, walkway, ramp, runway, or other surface from which it is possible for materials to fall more than blank meters. Is it A, 1.2, B, 1.4, C, 3 meters, D, as close as practicable?
I will go with A, 1.2 meters.
And that is correct. So this can be found in section 123, 1A. Very good. And that was for 300. All right. Sherry, you're up next.
I will take planes, cranes, and automobiles for 300, please.
All right. A mobile crane with a load rating, maximum capacity of blank tons or greater is equipped with a permanent load gauge. So a mobile crane with a load rating, so maximum capacity of blank tons or greater is equipped with a permanent load gauge. Is it A, 7 tons, B, 11 tons, C, 5 tons, or D, 9 tons?
I'm going to go with D, 9 tons.
All right, let's see. That is correct, D, 9 tons. So in 2085, an employer contractor shall not require or permit a worker to use a crane mentioned in subsection 2 unless the crane is equipped with a permanent load gauge that will measure the weight of any load bearing, hoisted, or instantaneously indicate the weight to the operator. So a lot of these are actually electronic, these new cranes. It's amazing. The moment they bear the full weight of the object, it tells them exactly what that weight is. All right. So very good. That is 3. So we're at Loy with 800, Sherry with 700. Loy, you're up next.
All right, let's finish up All Hail the Guardrail for 200.
All right. Where wire rope guardrail is used, a horizontal top member and horizontal intermediate member made of wire rope that is not less than blank millimeters in diameter. So where wire rope guardrail is used, a horizontal top member and horizontal intermediate member made of wire rope that is not less than blank millimeters in diameter. Is it A, 8.5 millimeters, B, 10.5 millimeters, C, 9 millimeters, or D, or sorry, C, 9.5 millimeters, or D, 9 millimeters?
I will go with C, 9.5 millimeters.
That is absolutely correct. That can be found in 122.5A of the regulations. Good work. So that takes us, all right. So that we'd have nothing left in All Hail the Guardrail. We have 200 and Can You Dig It, 2 and 300 and Don't Bring Me Down, Goose, 400 and Can You Hear Me Now, and 400 in Plain Train Automobiles. So we got some big money on the table. Sherry.
Let's go with planes, cranes, and automobiles for 400.
All right. Oh. All right. Another win or lose round. So this is for 400. So there's 400 to win or 400 to lose on this one. So here we go. A minimum clearance of blank millimeters should be maintained between the crane and obstacles. If distance is less than blank millimeters, the area around the crane is barricaded to restrict access. So use danger or caution tape around crane. So a minimum clearance of blank millimeters should be maintained between the crane and obstacles. If distance is less than blank millimeters, the area around the crane is barricaded to restrict access. All right, so is it A, 300 millimeters, B, 600 millimeters, C, 900 millimeters, or D, 1200 millimeters?
Gonna go with B, 600 millimeters.
And B would be correct. Awesome job. Where a hoist or crane is designed to be operated with outriggers or other stabilizing devices, an employer contractor shall ensure that there is a minimum clearance of at least 600 millimeters between any moving part of the crane and any obstacles near the base of that hoist or crane. And D, where there is a danger of a worker being trapped or crushed by any moving part of the crane, when the crane swings, the area around the base of the crane is barricaded to restrict the entry of workers. Very good. So that solidifies 400 points. All right, Loy.
I will go with Can You Hear Me Now for 400.
400. All right, let's see. Here's that one we were talking about, the select the wrong answer. Well, a hearing conservation plan must be in writing and include, so the wrong answer you want to pick. A, the methods and procedures to be used in assessing the occupational noise exposure of workers, the maintenance of exposure to high decibels. C, areas where workers can rest from exposure to high decibels, or D, selection, use, and maintenance of hearing protectors.
Okay, I will go with, so I want the wrong answer.
You want to pick the wrong answer, yes. 3 of these are right.
Okay, I'll go with C, areas where workers can rest from exposure to high decibels.
And that is absolutely correct. This can be found in Hearing Conservation Plan 144 of the regulations. So you definitely, I mean, it's a great idea to have a place where workers can rest, like a lunchroom or something, but it's definitely not supposed to be from exposure to high decibels. All right. So that was 400. All right, Sherry.
Let's go with Don't Bring Me Down, Bruce, for 300.
All right, let's see. A building shaft is a continuous vertical space substantially enclosed on all sides that extends for blank floors and includes elevator shafts, ventilation shafts, stairwells, and service shafts. So a building shaft is a continuous vertical space substantially enclosed on all sides that extends for blank floors and includes elevator shafts, ventilation shafts, stairwells, and service shafts. Is it A, 1 or more, B, 2 or more, C, 3 or more, or D, 4 or more?
I want to go with B again, 2 or more.
Let's see. That is correct. B, 2 or more floors. So this can be found in the preliminary matters section, 2(1)(f) under building shafts. All right. So that was for 300. We got a tie game here. So, Loy.
No pressure, no pressure.
No pressure.
I'll go with don't bring me down, Gru's, for 200.
All right. An employer, contractor, or owner shall ensure that at least one blank sign indicating the presence of an open building shaft is placed on a barrier erected pursuant to subsection 4. So again, an employer, contractor, or owner shall ensure that at least one blank sign indicating the presence of an open building shaft is placed on a barrier erected pursuant to subsection 4. Is it A, danger, B, warning, C, Wemyss placard, or D, a funny meme?
I will go with B, a warning sign.
All right, let's see. That is correct. All right, Sherry, you have the last one. Can you dig it for 200? Let's see. It's the last and final win or lose round. So this is for 200. So you have the chance to get your 200 points and tie it up or lose 200 points. So let's see what happens. When the trench is considered a blank, follow safe precautions that apply to blank entry, such as monitoring and ventilation. So again, when the trench is considered a blank, follow safe precautions that apply to blank entry, such as monitoring and ventilation. Is it A, a dangerous environment, B, confined space, C, critical task, or D, excavation?
B, confined space.
Let's see. B, confined space. Great work. So, to keep in mind, just like a video game, there are scores for the amount of time that you spend on each question. So what I've done is I kind of created a little algorithm in this PowerPoint to be able to establish that. So while the score may be 1,600 and 1,600, we're going to calculate and determine who is the actual winner from this tie. So I'll just pull this out now. So it's just going to calculate. What are you going to do, right? Not everything is perfect. So that's unfortunate. Well, that went really well. That was, did you guys have fun?
No.
Nerve-wracking. We have to all go home and change our shirts now and sweat through our shirts.
No, that was fun, Justin. Thank you.
Awesome. I'm glad you guys had fun, and that's the thing too, is that, sometimes the regulation can get a bad rap for not being fun, but when it comes to people that are safety professionals, it's our jobs to make things. Yes, there's a lot of learning, and sometimes learning isn't always fun, but there are ways to make things fun. This can go with your toolbox talks, safety meetings. There's a lot of ways to kind of test the knowledge of your workers. And that even comes with things like audits. I've had one company that actually took the interview questions and made not a similar game show, but they made a big game out of it. And everybody kind of got like little snacks and stuff when they answered questions right. Throw in like candy bars and stuff like that. And it was a fun way to make that meeting, fun, as well as there's some learning opportunities there. So there are ways to make safety a lot of fun. So that's it. That concludes our SCSA Wednesday webinar. It's a little shorter than usual, but this was a little bit different than usual. So I'd like to thank everyone here, including our guests, but also the people watching. By watching and participating in these discussions, we're all working together and making Saskatchewan the safest construction environment in Canada. So again, make sure you tune in next week for Toolbox Tuesday at 10 a.m. and keep in touch with our social media for webinars in the new year. I also want to remind everyone that we have all of our webinar presentations and Toolbox Talks available on our YouTube channel. These are a great resource for training and Toolbox Talks, especially if, like us, you're still doing meetings online, especially in the separated environment. Remember to like and share this video and follow us on all social media platforms. Loy, Sherry, any final remarks?
Thanks, Justin, for inviting us. It was a great challenge, lots of fun.
Awesome.
We're not quite as entertaining as Colin was when he was on here. He's used to this.
Yeah, well, no, it was great. It was still a lot of fun, right? So that's it. That's all from us. Have a great day, everyone, and work safe.